NovaMind Platinum has a unique screenwriting system built into the program, providing you with a completely new way to write your screenplays using what we call script mapping. The NovaMind Screenwriter has already been used in some of the biggest movie studios in the world, as well as small indie studios and individual writers, to produce a number of screenplays, including one which won the most prestigious screenwriting award in Europe. The movie industry has very strict rules for the formatting of scripts, and they will not even look at scripts which are not formatted correctly. The NovaMind Screenwriter automatically formats your screenplay according to these formatting rules, allowing you to concentrate on the content instead of the formatting. NovaMind is the only program to combine mind mapping and screenwriting. Sometimes, screenplays start as doodles or conversations with friends and are developed through brainstorming sessions. But those brainstorming and planning sessions, where all the ideas are being thrown out there left, right and centre, are often not captured, and afterwards only a flavour of the conversation is left. Many ideas that could have been developed into something brilliant have been lost in this way. Many professionals in the live theatre, movie and TV industries already use mind mapping and brainstorming techniques to generate and develop story ideas, characters, and organise aspects of production. This has helped immensely with capturing that information, organising it and explaining it to everyone else involved in the production. But there used to be something missing. Sure, if you had a good mind mapping application, you can use it like a visual storyboard, but often snippets of the actual screenplay are thought up during those brainstorming sessions. There used to be nowhere to store these portions of your screenplay in your mind maps, that is, until NovaMind. Now with NovaMind you can use both powerful visual storyboarding, task planning, resource management and script writing all in one place. The NovaMind Screenwriter is totally unique and provides everything that you need to write and publish your screenplay directly from within NovaMind. You can attach as much script as you like to each of the topics, and it's automatically assembled in the right order for your screenplay according to the position of the topics. If you want to reorganize your script, all you need to do is to move the topics around. But there's something even more powerful. You can do experimental script writing. Say you have a screenplay and have ideas for 3 different endings. You could write all 3 of the endings and attach them to different topics. Then you would disable the printing and export on 2 of the topics and produce your screenplay, send it off to the director or producer. And let's say they come back and say, I love the screenplay, but the ending could really do with a rewrite. So now you're all ready. You go back to your computer, uncheck one ending, check another ending, and produce the revised screenplay instantly. The combination of screenwriting and mind mapping gives many advantages over traditional screenwriting programs, such as the ability to reorder your script at will, the ability to include or exclude different scenes or parts of scenes to perform experimental screenwriting. You can keep your logistics, casting, and general scheduling all in one place. You can present your scripts to executives easily in summary form so they can understand the flow through the mind map without having to read the entire script. You can even use the NovaMind presenter to present the mind map to them in a powerful way which is easy to follow. You can switch between working on the entire script at once and working on a single scene or part of the script that is attached to a particular topic. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty of what is in the screenwriting system. The screenwriting is done in a separate window to the mind map so that you can easily organize your workspace and writing area, and even have the mind map on one screen and the screenplay on another if you'd so desire. To start working with the screenwriter, choose Screenwriter from the window menu. This will open the script window ready for you to work with it. There is also a toolbar icon, so you can have the screenwriter option displayed in the main toolbar. Just use the toolbar customization option to add it to your toolbar. If you already have script attached to a topic, you can click on the action icon on the topic to open the screenwriter at the script for that topic. You can attach the screenwriter script to any of the mind map topics, including the title, floating topics, and callouts. If you already have script attached to other topics, NovaMind will automatically open up a gap for you to start typing in. The script attached to the non-selected topics is grayed out, so you can easily see which text is attached to the selected topic. If you move the cursor in the text to text that's attached to another topic, that topic is selected. The title of the window is updated to show the title of the selected topic. In the command bar at the bottom of the window, you have forward and backward arrows which allow you to select the next or previous topic with script attached to it, so you can step through the screenplay. You can also hold down the Option key while using the arrow buttons, and it will take you to the next or previous topic whether it has script attached or not. We'll get into a full explanation of the command bar later. Often you want to see the whole screenplay at once so you have the context there, but sometimes you want to just focus on the script attached to a single topic. We've built in a function to do this by clicking on this toolbar button to switch between document mode and single topic mode. Screenplays or scripts are made up of a number of elements. NovaMind makes it easy and fast to write your scripts by anticipating what element type you're likely to add next and automatically applies it when you press return or tab. The elements are as follows. Firstly, the scene heading, which is also known as the slug line. This is the start of a new scene within the screenplay. Scenes can be numbered automatically by NovaMind with the numbers appearing in the margins if you've turned this on in the preferences. Scenes always have a name or location, but can have a setting and a time of day associated with them too. The format is the setting, then the name, and then the time of day. For example, int the palace afternoon, which would mean interior at the palace in the afternoon. NovaMind has standard scene prefixes, the settings, built in, but you can edit these in the screenwriter preferences. When you start typing a scene, if you start one of the scene prefixes, a completion window will appear, and you can choose the completion you want, or just keep typing if you're not going to use a prefix for this scene. If you type something other than a standard prefix, it will be interpreted as part of the scene location, so if you do need different prefixes, you should edit the preferences. The scene names, that is the scene locations, are remembered on a document-wide basis, so while a screenplay is tied to a particular mind map, these scenes are remembered across mind maps in the document to ensure consistency. When you start typing a scene name, NovaMind will offer a list of matching completions, so you can either choose one of them if you are going to use the same scene location, or just keep typing if it's a different location. NovaMind has built-in scene time of day completions, and these can be edited in the preferences. To use a scene time, after you've typed the scene name, type a space, then a hyphen, then another space. NovaMind will work out that you're intending to use a time of day and provide you with a list of completions for you to choose. If you type a different time of day option than what's in the completions, it will still be recognized as a time of day completion, but you really should stick to the ones in the completions and edit the completions in the preferences if you need other ones. If you start a scene with a prefix, it is correct practice to finish with a suffix. NovaMind will detect the prefix and will therefore prompt you to insert the suffix at the end of the scene when you press tab or return, even if you haven't typed in the space hyphen space characters to trigger the completions. By default, at the end of the scene, if you press tab or return, it will take you onto an action element. This can be altered in the screenwriting preferences if you want to go to a different element. Also, by default, the first element that's created when you add a script to a topic is a scene. Again, this is editable in the preferences by setting the default element type, but the default setting is what you would want if you were going to have one scene per mind map topic. The next element is action. This is the narrative description of the events of a scene written in the present tense. NovaMind automatically capitalizes the first word of every sentence so that you don't need to worry about that. By default, when you press either tab or return while in an action element, it will create another action paragraph. Next is character name. A character name element is always used to introduce a character before their dialogue. This holds either their actual name, or for minor characters, they can be listed without a name, for example, customer or police officer 1. Like scene names, character names are also remembered across the whole NovaMind document, so you can use the same characters in several screenplays on different mind maps. If you start typing the name of a character you've already used, NovaMind will offer completions for you to choose from. Sometimes you want to indicate how the character's voice will be heard. This is done using a character parenthetical, which is also known as a character extension. NovaMind has built-in character parentheticals. Just type a space and then open parenthesis, and NovaMind will present you with a list of completions for you to choose from. Use your arrow and return keys to select from the list, or just double-click on the option you want. You can either choose one of the predefined options or type something different, but in just about all circumstances, you should use one of the standard options, and if you want to use different options, update them in the preferences. By default, pressing tab after typing a character name will add a parenthetical element, and pressing return will add a dialogue element. A parenthetical element, which is also known as a Riley, is used to direct the way an actor is supposed to behave or sound when they deliver their lines. NovaMind automatically adds the opening and closing parentheses and positions the insertion point between them. By default, pressing Tab or Return after typing a parenthetical will add a dialogue element. The dialogue is the lines of speech for the character. It always follows a character name element, so you know who is speaking. NovaMind automatically capitalizes the first word of every sentence, so you don't need to worry about that. By default, pressing Tab when in a dialogue element adds a parenthetical element, so you can give the actor further attitude directions, and pressing Return adds an action element. Next is the transition element. Transitions are elements that provide direction for filming about how to transition from one scene to another. NovaMind has a number of transition completions defined, so as soon as you type the first letter of a transition, it will provide all the relevant completions. If you need a different transition, you can type it, but it is recommended that you stick to the predefined transitions, and if you need others, you can edit the completions in the screenwriter preferences. By default, pressing either the Tab or Return will add a scene heading element. Normally, if you are writing a spec script, you would not normally include transitions, but for a shooting or production script, transitions can be included. The next is shot elements. A shot tells the reader that the focal point within a scene has changed and gives an indication of what the camera sees. For example, tracking shot would mean that the camera is following a character as he walks in a scene. A wide shot would mean that we see every character that appears in the scene all at once. By default, pressing Tab when in a shot will add another shot element, and pressing Return will add an action element. Normally, if you're writing a spec script, you would not include shot elements, but for a shooting or production script, shots can be included. A general element is used for any text which does not fit into the requirements of any of the standard elements, and should only be used in unusual situations, since the standard elements should cover all normal usage. By default, pressing Tab or Return in a general element will add another general element, since it's out of the cycle of an ordinary screenplay. Now, if you have an empty script element, you can press Return to select the element type you want to use, and it will be converted to use that element type. You can also switch to other element types using the Tab and Shift-Tab keystrokes. They're pretty much what you would expect, but for a full list, see the documentation. You can also change the element type either for an empty element or an existing element by using the hotkeys that you see in the element type pop-up. As you can see, the whole thing is designed to enhance the writing experience, minimizing typing and anticipating your needs and allowing you to keep your hands on the keyboard. Now let's look at the command bar. Within the script window, there is a command bar at the bottom designed to show you the relevant information about your script and give you control over the various aspects of the screenplay. This button selects the previous topic with screenwriting text attached to it. It grays out the script that is attached to the other topics and puts the cursor at the start of the text for that topic. When you hold down the Option key, the double arrow will change to a single arrow, and instead of moving to the previous topic with script attached, you will move to the previous topic whether it has script attached or not. This button selects the next topic with screenwriting text attached to it. It grays out the script attached to other topics and puts the cursor at the start of the text for that topic. When you hold down the Option key, the double arrow will be changed to a single arrow, and instead of moving to the next topic with script attached to it, you'll move to the next topic whether it has script attached or not. The Print checkbox allows you to include the script for the selected topic in the screenplay output for printing or exporting, and if you have the Print checkbox unchecked, the background behind the script for that topic is pink, so that you can see at a glance what is included and excluded. The script action icon on the mind map is also colored to make it easy to see on the mind map which topics have enabled screenplay attachments. You can also hold down the Option key and click on the script action icon on the mind map topic to toggle printing on and off. There's an option for the print and export settings to include all topics, which will override whatever settings you've made here, and this is the easy way to print everything without having to go through and checking and unchecking script boxes. If there are multiple pages, there will be a pop-up menu available so that you can jump directly to a selected page. The scene number. If there are multiple scenes in your screenplay, there will be a pop-up menu available listing all of the slug lines for all of the scenes so you can jump directly to any scene you choose. The current element pop-up. This shows the element that you are currently in. It's also a pop-up menu which allows you to change the element type. If you change the element type, then the change is applied to the selected element. The capitalization pop-up shows you a menu so that you can change the capitalization of the selected text. Next is the tab indicator. This shows a tab sign as a reminder and the element that will be used if you press the tab key. Note that for some elements, this value may be different depending on whether you have text in the currently selected element or not. The return element. This section shows the return sign and the element that will be used when you press return. Note that if the currently selected element is empty, the text will show select element, and if you press return, it will show a pop-up table allowing you to select the element type you want. The zoom pop-up allows you to select the amount to zoom the screenwriter text to enhance readability. At the top of the screenwriter window, there are 3 icons on the toolbar. We've already explained the whole document and individual topic views, and we'll get to printing soon. Clicking on the inspector icon shows a list of all the scenes in the document. You can edit the scenes, and they'll be updated throughout the document. There's also a pop-up menu which allows you to switch to showing all the characters. Again, you can edit them, and they'll be changed throughout the document. Note that changing the character name will change it everywhere that it's used in character name elements, but will not change it if it has been typed in other places in the script. Now let's talk about mores and continueds and scene numbering. When formatting scripts, it's part of the industry standard to insert mores and continueds when dialogues or scenes run onto a second or subsequent page. NovaMind can do this automatically for you. Please refer to the Screenwriting Continuations tab on the Preferences panel, which we'll explain shortly, for the options and to adjust these settings to suit so that they will be applied to your NovaMind scripts. NovaMind will automatically protect your dialogues so that the dialogue will not be split from the character name. This is so that you don't get the character name on one page and then the dialogue on the next page. Now we'll go through the screenwriter preferences in a bit more detail so that you can set things up the way you like. The screenwriting industry has very specific formatting requirements, and the defaults in the preferences are set up to match these requirements. If you want to revert to these industry defaults at any time, just click on the Reset button at the bottom of the Preferences panel. All the options in the preferences are applied immediately so you can see what the impact of the changes is. In the Page tab, you can change the page size and margins. By default, the page size is set to US letter since that's the industry standard, but you can change it if need be. Typically, the only change you might possibly make is switching to A4. If you need to change the margins, just type the new values. The default settings match the industry standard, so should only be changed if you know what you're doing. Next is the Elements tab. The default element type is the element type that is used when you first start adding script to a topic. By default, this is set to Scene Heading, assuming that you would want to have one scene per topic, but you can change it to whatever you want. Of course, it's pretty easy to change the element type when you're editing, but this saves you having to think about it if you have a standard way of working. The next section is all related to the element you select in the top pop-up here. To view or edit the settings for an element type, choose the element. The options are displayed below it. The tab action is the element type that's added if you're typing in the selected element type and then press tab. This will also be reflected in the command bar so you can see what the option is. The return action is the element type that is added if you're typing in the selected element type and then press return. This will also be reflected in the command bar. The indents and capital settings are pretty much self-explanatory and again match the industry defaults and therefore should only be changed if you know what you're doing. The completion section allows you to set up the completions you want to have available for various topic completions in the software. To add a completion, click the plus button, then edit the row that's been added. To delete a completion, select it and click the minus button. The completions are shown in the order that you have set them up in the preferences. You can reorder them by dragging the rows to the positions you want them. This can be handy if there's a completion that you use more often than the others. The character parentheticals are chosen when you type a space and an open parenthesis after a character name. They should be abbreviations of indications as to where the voice will be heard on screen. For example, VO for voiceover. Transitions are brief shooting instructions for cutting from one scene to the next, or related photography instructions. Edit them as required, but they should be kept short, and you would normally only put them in a production script. Scene prefixes are normally kept to the brief location prefixes that are understood in the industry, for example, int dot for interior. The scene time list should be the times of day that need to be indicated in your script. Note that these completions will automatically be shown if a scene prefix is used for the particular scene as well. The Continuations tab lets you set up the scene numbering and continuations. It's normal to have scene numbers shown at both sides of the page, but some directors may want it just on one side of the page or not at all, so we have all of those options available. You can set the continuation options for scenes to show at the bottom of the page, or at the top of the next page, or both. Normally you would have them both on. The text at the top of the page is the text that is shown at the top of the second or subsequent pages of a scene. The text at the bottom of the page is the text that's shown at the bottom of any pages where a scene goes across to another page. If you have the scene continuation numbers turned on, for scenes that continue for 2 page breaks or more, the continued text will have a number of pages used by the scene shown in the continued number for the page. You can set the continuation options for dialogues which cross page boundaries to show at the bottom of the page, a more, or at the top of the next page, a continued, or both. Normally, you would have both turned on. The text at the top of the page is the text that is shown at the top of the second or subsequent pages of the dialogue where the dialogue has crossed a page boundary. The text at the bottom of the page is the text that is shown at the bottom of any pages where the dialogue goes on to another page. If you turn on the Automatic Character Continueds option, the character name will be included before the continued as a reminder of who is talking. Now let's look at the printing options. In the Layout section, you can include whatever scenes and dialogue continuations you want. The actual text of the continuations will be as defined in the preferences. You can have the border of the screenplay outlined with a frame and/or top and bottom lines in whatever color and thickness you need. You can either generate the screenplay with all of the topics or just the ones that you've selected for printing. If you choose to just print the selected ones, all of the topics on the mind map are listed so you can update which topics are printed within the print panel. You can use the ability to turn off specific portions of text for experimental writing. You can print either the entirety of the screenplay text, the current topic, or a specified range of scenes or pages from the generated screenplay. In the Mind Map section, you can choose to include topic titles in the screenplay as it's generated. The titles are added before the associated script and formatted as general elements. Include topic notes includes any text notes that have been attached to the topic. These are added after the titles, if selected, and before the script, and are formatted as general elements. If you choose to include topics without script text, NovaMind will print the text from all of the mind map topics, not just the ones that have scripts. The option for exporting scripts are very similar to those for printing. The only real difference is that you can choose to export either as FCF or specially formatted RTF script. The FCF format is the standard interchange format for Final Draft. The RTF is formatted specially for import into programs like NovaMind, which will understand the element types properly, but of course, being RTF, you can open it in any word processor. You can import from FCF, Final Draft Interchange Format, and NovaMind exported RTF files. The import will take the screenplay and import it by splitting the scenes up, one per topic, and naming the topics with the scene names. You can then reorganize your scripts onto the topics you want if you want to split things up differently. So that's pretty much it for the screenwriting features, but we have also enhanced a number of other areas of the program to work with the screenwriter. The Find and Replace system has been extended to include screenwriter script in your Find options. For spelling, grammar, and substitutions, the screenplay text uses all of the settings that you set up in the text preferences. Also, when you check spelling for your mind map, it includes your screenplay. For speech, normally if you're using the speech options, it will just read your mind map. If you want to have your screenplay read to you, choose the option to show the entire document by clicking on the toolbar icon at the left of the screenplay window if necessary, then use Command A to select all. Now use the Edit, Speech, Start Speaking Selection option. Of course, if you want just part of your screenplay spoken, just select that part. For dictation, we've engineered the screenwriter to work with the Mac built-in dictation, and you can activate it through the Edit menu or by pressing the Function key twice. So that's just about everything for the screenwriter. I'd just like to mention a comment from John Brownlow of Deep Fried Films, who said, "I just wanted to congratulate you on starting to address the need for a truly structured screenwriting program. I'm a professional movie director and screenwriter, and I wrote the movie Sylvia, starring Gwyneth Paltrow. As a long-standing and very disillusioned user of other screenwriting applications, I'm delighted to see the way that NovaMind is going. I already structure all of my scripts in NovaMind and am enormously looking forward to using the app to do much more of the work on my next script." Hector Cabello-Reyes used the screenwriting capabilities of NovaMind to write the screenplay with which he won the French National Cinema Centre's professional screenwriting competition. Hector says, "My modesty suffers when I say this, but the prize I got is the highest in France and thus in Europe, for France is Europe's biggest film market and producer. All the entries must be written by professional screenwriters, that is, writers who already had a screenplay produced and released. So it's a very important prize because it says that this year your screenplay is among the best of all the professional ones. And well, mine got first, with jury's congratulations. I'm pretty proud of it. About my prize-winning screenplay, the answer is yes, it was totally written in NovaMind." So now it's over to you. What awards will you win using NovaMind?